Audio Jungle.
Good day and welcome to the African News broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra. Asante top stories. Whereabouts of two detained Ethiopian journalists unknown. Sudan deploys more troops to border with Ethiopia. These are more stories after the break. Stay tuned. You're welcome back from the break to our first story. Sudan's armed forces have deployed more troops along the disputed border with Ethiopia, announcing that they have complete control of the region amid tensions with Addis Ababa. The army sent a message of reassurance to the citizens, telling them to sleep soundly. Sudan announced on 1st of December that its troops had dismantled an Ethiopian settlement and taken control of it after exchanging artillery's fire with the neighboring countries' forces in the disputed Al-Fashaga area. It follows reports that 21 Sudanese soldiers have been killed and 30 others wounded in clashes with Ethiopia forces in Berkat Nudan in the disputed area 4 days ago. The renewed clashes prompted Sudan's military ruler Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan to vow that his country will not cede an inch of territory to Ethiopia. Still in Ethiopia, the families of 2 of 4 journalists who were recently arrested in Ethiopia have told the BBC their whereabouts are unknown. Kibrom Woku was picked up 2 months ago accused of inciting violence and has had not been seen since the bail hearing last month. On Monday, the police said that he had been released, but he has not returned home, and his family told the BBC that he was worried about his son's family. On Monday, the police said that he had not been released, but he has not returned home, and his father told the BBC that he was worried about his son's health. Salem Bailey, the wife of Tamrat Negera, who was arrested on Friday, said that all she wants to know is whether her husband is dead or alive. His family had been searching prisons in and near the capital, Addis Ababa, and they were told that he has not been seen. Merza Mohammed, who was detained last week, is being held by police in Addis Ababa, and her family saw her on Sunday. Her brother told the BBC that they would visit him again today. Asiape Tesfaye was arrested at his mother's house last week. Friends and family visited him at the police station in Addis Ababa, except for Mr. Kibrom. None of the others have appeared in court or have had access to a lawyer. Ethiopia is currently under a state of emergency because of the ongoing civil war. As a result, some rights have been suspended. The authorities, though, have not explained the reasons behind the most recent 3 arrests, and BBC requests for comments from officials have so far not been answered. We are shocked at several cases of arrested journalists that have been reported to us in the last 1 week, the Committee for the Protection of Journalists has said. Since the state of emergency, the government has ratcheted up the targeting of journalists for arrest and detain them without due processes. Unfortunately, these latest arrests seem to fit in with that pattern, CPJ said. We move to Sudan, and the UN has said access to flooded areas in the South Sudan has become a challenge in the quest to offer help to those affected. The UN's Office for the Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, says funding restraints have also affected humanitarian aid. The agency says more than 835,000 people across the country have been affected by the flooding since May. People in Jonglei and the 2 oil-producing states of Unity and Upper Nile in the northern part of the country are reported to be the most affected. Last week, Nicholas Haysom, the head of UN peacekeeping mission in South Sudan, who visited Bitoy, described the situation as dire. He said flood waters were not receding and hundreds of thousands of people remained displaced in the disputed and desperate need of food assistance. He said the consequences could be disastrous in terms of food insecurity, lack of health, education, and the risk of waterborne diseases. To our last story, a new wave of attacks on civilians in Darfur since mid-November 2021 highlights the urgent need for the United Nations to enhance its security and scrutiny of the restive region of Sudan, Human Rights Watch has said today, a year after the withdrawal of the United Nations African Union hybrid mission in Darfur, UN-AMID. Violence between armed groups, in some cases implicating state security forces, have been on the rise, with a devastating impact on civilians. The UN should deploy a robust human rights monitoring presence to the area, including expertise in gender-based crimes. The resurgence of violence in Darfur over the last years has left a trail of devastation, with scores killed and injured, massive displays, and thousands of homes destroyed. Mohammed Osman said, Sudan researcher at the Human Rights Watch stated. International monitors need to refocus their attention on Darfur. While various factors, often localized ones, play a role in the recent uptick in violence, the failure of the authorities over the last 2 years to provide meaningful civil protection and justice for past and ongoing abuses have contributed to the escalation in violence and civil harm. In December 2020, the United Nations Security Council terminated the mandate of the Joint United Nations African Union Peacekeeping Force, that is the UN-AMID, and called on the government to assume all responsibilities for civilian security. A civilian political mission, the UN Integrated Transmission Assistance Mission in Sudan, UNITAMS, was mandated to support the strengthening of the protection of the human rights, in particular in conflict-affected areas. Human Rights Watch documented large-scale attack against civilians during those of robust of violence, including killings, looting, and massive destruction of properties, including 2 counts for displaced people in the area. Witnesses told Human Rights Watch that members of Sudan government's Rapid Support Forces (RSF) has participated in the April attacks. This is where I end the African news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sandra. Asante, you should have a blessed day.